Hello and welcome. Aquarius here, coming to you with another video, and today we are going to be talking about the newly added Heartrunes. Now, I have one of each type of Heartrune leveled up to 625, so we're going to take a look at the ones that I do currently have. The plan is for me to eventually collect all of them so we can really play around with them. But for now, I got one of each type to play with, so let's take a look at what I've been using, how I've been using it, and maybe you can tell me in the comments what you've been using and why. So let's take a look at the first one here. All right, so the first one we're going to be looking at is the Grasping Vines Heartrune. I do have this one up to 625 here, and for this one we did go the route of Rending Vines with the Enfeebling Vines. Now, when you first level up a Heartrune to the Major Heartrune, every single one will receive a very specific perk to it, and then when you go to 625, those specific Heartrunes will have 3 different options for a secondary perk that you have to choose from. For the Grasping Vines, I did go the Rending Vines route. The other 2 options are Leeching Vines, and I believe the other one is a Fortification of sorts. But I really wanted to try the Rending because it's a 20% rend for 5 seconds. It does hurt your stam regeneration by 50%, so you need to be very aware of that. Not utilize too much stam prior to using it, or it can actually hurt you really bad in the long run of it. And then the Enfeebling Vines applies the weaken by 20% for 8 seconds. So it's a really big weaken. But this has been a great Heartrune for me. It's been working out really well for healer, tank, anything really, as long as I'm managing my stamina. As a tank, it is a little bit tricky because sometimes that stam regen can hurt you, but at the same time, the 20% rend and the 20% weaken does help a lot in terms of you're not going to have to be as defensive since they have the weaken, and then ideally with the rend, you're going through them that much faster. So a lot of times I'm using the Rending Vines as a tank when we're just trying to burn through ads or burn through a boss, and I know I'm not going to necessarily need to protect myself as much. But let's go take a look at the Grasping Vines in action then. The next Heartrune that we're going to be looking at is the Stoneform Heartrune. Now, at its base level, what you will receive is a cleansing of crowd control debuffs and immunity to both stagger and crowd control debuffs for 5 seconds. Once you hit the major, then you get the Fortifying Form, where it gives you 10% more damage absorption while it's active. And then at legendary, you have the 3 options of Hardened Form, a health gain of sorts, and then the last one is where the stones actually like explode, so you can actually do a little bit of damage with it. I did go the Hardened Form route because I wanted it to be as tanky as possible, so you do gain the extra 10% damage absorption for 5 seconds per hit taken up to 30%. That's a pretty huge fortification and pretty huge just instant, tankiness pretty much. And you can't be staggered or debuffed or crowd control debuff, so it's pretty crazy what you can do with that. But it's been working out pretty good for me. I have used it a little bit in OPR. I do tank with it at slightly. I do think some of the other Heartrunes have worked better for myself for tanking, but I do know some people like to run the Stoneform as a healer, especially just to keep yourself alive, depending on how you're playing. But it is a really good Heartrune, so if you want to be a bit tanky or just kind of have those little bit of get out of jail free cards at times, it's a really, really nice Heartrune to have. It will not get you out of everything, so don't think you will absolutely get out of everything, but it will get you out of some CC, keep you alive a little bit longer, and maybe get you out of some tough situations. Alright, so the next Heartrune that we are going to be looking at is the Detonate Heartrune. Now, this is a very popular one. A lot of people have been running this, a lot of the melees especially. At the base level, you get to charge yourself with explosive energy for 3 seconds, then detonate, dealing 100% Heartrune damage within a 5-meter radius. At the major level, you will receive the accelerating charge, so then your movement speed is increased by 30% while charging. And then at the top tier, at the legendary, you can get the empowering charge, which is what I'm running, so your outgoing damage is increased by 15% while charging, but explosion damage is by 20%, so the explosion damage itself is reduced, but your outgoing damage is increased. And then the other ones that you can go with are actually going to be one that will increase the damage of the explosion, but you take 15% more damage while you're charging. So that more or less gives you 3 seconds of taking 15% more damage. The only downside I've seen is I've seen a few people in like OPRs and stuff where they'll start the detonate and then everyone just focuses that person, just takes them out right away. Either that or everyone runs away and then that person starts sprinting at them with 30% charge, the 30% movement speed while charging. So it's kind of funny. You see either side of it. Some people will rush them, some people will run away. And then the last perk that you can get is a leeching explosion. So you'll heal for 50% of the damage done, but explosion damage is reduced by 30%. So it's a pretty big nerf to your explosion. And I don't know if the healing's worth it or not. I haven't tested that, so please let me know if it is. But that is why we have been running the empowering charge, because as I group stuff, I'm actually able to clear the mobs a lot quicker, I feel. Because what I do is I utilize that 15% extra damage while charging to group everything and do extra damage while I'm grouping. And then the explosion happens or the detonate happens, and then ideally we can clear the ads pretty quickly. So let's take a look at it in action and kind of see what I'm talking about here. All right, so the next Heartrune that we are going to be looking at is the Dark Ascent Heartrune. Now, this one, at the start, you fly up into the air, then plummet back down to the ground, staggering and dealing 100% Heartrune damage within a 3-meter radius. You can press the Heartrune, but you can either basic attack or press the Heartrune button again. It doesn't matter; it'll trigger it either way. And then you'll slam down after that. Now, at Major, you will receive the Leeching Ascent, so you will heal for 100% of the damage done, so guaranteed healing out of it, which is pretty fantastic. And then the route that I went for the Legendary is the Empowered Ascent, so successful hits deal 150% Heartrune damage, but no longer stagger. So I lose the stagger, I do more damage, meaning I also heal for more. So that was kind of the route that I went for it. Now, some of the other routes that you can go for that one are going to be one that is going to fortify you. So if you land in a whole group, you'll get fortification. I think it's 10% per hit, up to 3 hits. I think it's gonna be the same as the Stoneform. I think they crossed that over. So you end up getting up to a 30% fortification, pretty much. And then the other one is going to be Crippling Ascent. So then you actually inflict a slow as well as the stagger. And that's a 30% slow for 4 seconds. So that's a pretty solid slow. But I did want to go the route of having the Empowered Ascent because I'm also healing for 100% of the damage done. And if that damage done is increased by 100 or is increased to 150% of the Heartrune damage done, that's pretty awesome because then I'm healing for that much more. So that was the route I went with it. I don't have any leeching Heartrunes, so I really wanted to kind of make this one my main leeching one for now until I have the resources to craft the rest of the 625 Heartrunes. But for now, I crafted one of each, so then I can test them out. This is what we landed on for Dark Ascent, so let's go take a look at how it functions. The last one we are going to be looking at is the Cannon Blast Heartrune. Now this is one that all of us should have because I believe we all received it for free from the quest that unlocked the Heartrune for us. Now, the base level Cannon Blast, you really just summon the cannon and do 100% Heartrune damage. Not much to it other than just it's a giant cannonball, go shoot people. Once you hit major, you actually get the burning blast. So then you inflict a burn on successful hits, dealing 10% heart rune damage per second for 5 seconds. It's a pretty solid burn. I've played around with it and tested a little bit. It's not bad, especially at 625. It seems to be a pretty solid one. Yeah, I mean, it's an extra tick damage. So either way, it's extra tick damage. And then the route that I went is the penetrating blast. So the cannonball passes through enemies and cannot be blocked. Now, my intention of this is with OPR. What I've been doing is using Great Axe with the cannon blast. And what I do is I use a gravity well, and I'll throw the gravity well and then immediately cannon blast through anyone that's stuck in the gravity well, because it can't be blocked or anything. Like, it's going to hit you and it's going to leave a burn on everyone. So that's why I've been running this. I have an absolute blast running this in OPR, and you can do the same thing with PvE as well. This one, again, we all have it. The penetrating blast is honestly amazing, and then the burn, it leaves a burn on everyone. So I do highly recommend it, just for a really, really fun Heartrune to use. I don't think it's the best or the most ideal in every situation or many situations, but boy is it fun to just whip out a giant cannon and shoot it. So let's go take a look, or I should say, hold on, before we go forward, the other Heartrunes for this. So I use Penetrating Blast. The other one is, I forget what it's called, but it does a knockback, and it'll only hit one target and do a knockback. And then the other one is it'll actually explode and do a small amount of damage, but it does decent damage, but it actually reduces the damage of it, because it explodes. So this one, you get no damage reduction, and you still get the burn, and you get to hit multiple people with it. So I think Penetrating Blast is the best of all of them, personally, but it's also because that's how I'm using it. Now, if I did a lot of dueling, I would maybe consider doing the knockback one, because that'd be sweet if you could build up, if you could build up your Heartrune in a duel somehow. That'd be sweet because you could just knock them over. But let's go take a look at the Penetrating Blast with the burn and see what that looks like. Okay, well, we went through all of the Heartrunes that I personally am using. I do change them up based off the build. I wouldn't say I'm always running one Heartrune with a particular build. It just kind of depends. Honestly, that's what I've had a lot of fun with, is not getting stuck on just like one Heartrune, but switching them up, having fun, trying different ones, tanking, healing, DPS. I'm kind of trying a little bit of everything to see what I do or don't like about them. And so far, the ones that I've crafted with the particular perks, I've been really happy with. But if you've been trying some other Heartrunes or different perks within the Heartrunes, or even just a very specific way of how you're using it, please let me know, because I'm really curious. Heartrunes are still pretty new, and I want to see how people are using them. Obviously, I know there's kind of like quote-unquote meta ways that people are using them, but I'm really curious. If you've been creative with it or anything like that, please let me know, because I'd love to try it out and know which one I need to craft next, because I'd eventually like to have all of them. But that is going to do it for today's video. So again, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. You guys have been giving me a lot of love on the channel, and I'm still pretty new, so I appreciate that. If you do have any questions or anything like that on the builds, you're more than welcome to drop it in the comments, or stop by a stream and ask me live, because then I can give you a more detailed answer, a little bit easier that way. So you're welcome to stop by. If you do like the content and you want to see more of it and get notified, please subscribe. It does help me out a lot. And if you did like the video, please give it a thumbs up. It does help me out a lot as well. But again, that is going to do it for me. So thanks for hanging out for this video. I do appreciate it. I know Heartrunes are still pretty new, and a lot of us are still trying to figure out how we want to use them, where they're best utilized. But that's what's great about this, is we get to play around and test with it. So again, thanks for watching. Let me know how you guys have been using your Heartrunes, and until then, I will see you in the next one.